Can you guess what I got? That took a long time. 15 minutes trying to set up this shot. I got a drone. I went out this morning and got my actual first flight with it. It was a fun experience, and all I did was to fly the drone up and go nice and easy forward in different directions, and that's the intro that you saw for this video. An easy way of getting some nice simple footage with just slow moving lines and trying to do it in a place and that there's absolutely nothing around, so I didn't need to worry about hitting into a tree or doing anything stupid. But then after this morning I got a book to try and learn how to fly this properly and do some more interesting shots with it. And the best way that I think to do that is to try and find a nice big open space and try and do some different training shots so that we can figure out how to move the drone, how it will react in different situations, even how the wind will affect it. So I took down to an area where there was nothing around, just seaside and a nice big open green area. And the main point of that was so that I could start off with practicing some shots where I will go around the subject, which is me in this case. And as I'm going around it, I try and keep the person in the center of the frame as much as possible. And when I do that, that means that if I have a subject that I want to track around, then I can have the movement as slow and smooth as possible so that you don't have any of them jitters that you'll have to try and take out in post.
That ended quickly. Pro tip number one is to definitely charge your phone before you go flying a drone. Otherwise, you'll have to stop up early and end training for the first.
Because my phone died, that means that I didn't have as much time to train as I wanted to do. And by the time I got back home again, then it was too dark to go back out. So I will be going out again this week and trying to do as many of these as possible. But the plan is first that circulating shot, just keeping it nice and simple, and then doing that coupled with some follow shots of a target moving, and then some leading shots of a target moving from the opposite direction, so that you have them in the frame coming in and you're just going away from them. These, I think, are the simple drone shots that people tend to get. The step after that, after having a nice bit of experience with having the drone a nice bit off the ground so you don't have to worry about anything in a nice big open space, the next challenge I believe with flying drone is getting it nice and close to the ground, because when you're up really high and you start moving forward, or you'll see it especially when you're doing these shots where you go in towards a sunrise or sunset, if there's nothing in the frame to give a point of reference of how fast the drone is moving, then everything looks very slow motion and it looks like the drone is barely moving. So if you can get them shots where you're really close to the ground, and then as you're moving you come up to the sunrise, then when you have that foreground there, then that will give the illusion of getting that speed up and moving towards things. That's the next challenge will be for me, is that I'll try and make sure that we do them slow to the ground, running shots, and see how that looks. My goal for flying with the drone will be that in 2 months I can do a spiral, so that if I have a fixed target, let's say it's the drone here, so if I have a fixed target here, then the drone will be out here and it will fly and it will move up as it goes around the target. So I'll give myself 2 months to try and learn that, and to learn all the tips and tricks with this. And then in 4 months, what I'd like to do is, if the target is moving along this way, that the drone will go up and around and follow as it goes. With them 2 goals, I think that a lot of the learning about how to fly a drone will be covered, and I think that it will give a lot useful training skill to me when I'm doing it. And then in the meantime, while doing that, one of the things that I find quite difficult is that you have to you control the drone when you're flying, and you go up and down and the sides and back and forth. But one thing that rarely I thought about when flying is actually that you can get the camera to move. So if you started tilting down a little bit, and then you can move it. But anytime I move it, then the camera just goes from here to here to here. So it's very jittery as it moves. So one thing I'll try and be practicing is to have this moving nice and easy, and then the camera angle starts low and then just comes up gradually, so that it's not actually the drone that needs to do this to come up, that it will actually be that this will keep straight and the camera will do the work for me. But that will require that we move the controller at a nice easy pace. So if you see here on the controller, that it will require to move this button and just slowly bring it up, or slowly bring it back down again. But it's a very short range of motion, so it goes from there to there. Here's the range of motion you have to get it going, so it's to get it to move slowly and slowly in the other direction. And that will be the main thing that will be with this, is to try and get used to all these controls and how they move around. And one thing that I will really be interested in is to look into, if you go into the app for the drone, one of the things that you're able to set is the curve, as to how the movement of the controller reacts to what actual movement happens in the drone, whether you want it as an exponential curve or a linear curve. And I'd like to experiment with that to see if it makes it easier to control the drone if it's a linear curve, so that every movement I make, that it's nothing at the start, and then when I get to the extreme, that it just shoots off. That if I slow down the controller a little bit, then it will slow down the drone a little bit, so that my movements are a bit more consistent across the entire range, rather than being not effective at the start and then being very effective at the end. So then when you want to get that flexibility in, when you're trying to slow move at different parts of the cycle, then it won't look different, and you can just keep the same movement going and it should look the same throughout the entire flow. So that's one thing I really like to look into and to come back with and say what my experience was with it. If anyone has any good training tips, please comment down below and let me know. If you have any tips to some of the shots that I had at the start of the video, or some of the training video stuff, if you have any simple learnings from that, please comment down below, let me know. And let me know if you'd like to know more about the Mavic Mini. I think it's a really cool drone, especially to start off with, and it can get some really good footage. There's been a lot of progression lately in drones, but I think that this is a really good place to start, because you don't want to give out too much money if you're not actually going to get interested in it. So I think that this is definitely worth it, and definitely a really good investment. But one thing I would warn you about is that you will definitely get addicted to flying a drone, because it is really fun. I can safely say that every time that it goes does the then my heart just goes, oh no. But one thing I would say is being in an open field definitely helps with that, and making sure there's nothing around. But it's definitely a fun and exciting hobby to have, and I'm looking forward to making some more videos on how to fly this bad boy and how to do it. One quick tip I can give, because it baffled me for a little bit, but on the controller here you have this to connect it to your phone, and then if you look in here at the end, it shows it looks like a completely different connector. I thought that there's only specific cable that can come into it, but if you can actually plug in the charging cable here, so the USB cable in there, and it will charge the controller for you. That's a quick tidbit that I had to quickly look up online how to charge it, because couldn't seem to figure it out. And the other thing is pro tip that I've said before, definitely charge your phone, charge everything that you need to have with you. So one thing to remember with this drone flying is that you need to, if you're going to go with it, you really need to go with it. If you get one, mark some days in your calendar. Say you're going to go out training that day, give yourself a half an hour or however long you feel the batteries are going to last you. And just train and be as consistent as possible. If you have to mark 2-3 days a week to do it, then you will really see the benefits at the end of it. That's what I'm going to hopefully do, is at least have 2 days a week where I will go and train. If you like this video, please whack the like button, it really helps, and please also click the big red subscribe and get notifications about this channel and when I'm posting, and I'll try and keep it as consistent as possible and post at least one video a week. And I'll have some videos coming up on how to make sure that you keep consistency and prioritize that over doing some other things. So please stick with me, subscribe, like, and we'll keep this going here as long as possible. Thanks very much for watching, and see you in the next one.